Hey guys, this is going to be my presentation of my mini study I did last semester. Um, hope you guys find it interesting as I did doing it. Hopefully, you guys get something from it. Also, it's pretty hard to do this one take and make it 100% perfect. So I'm going to try my best to make it as presentable as possible. And also, basically, I'm just doing a screen recording of my desktop and then going through Keynote through a slideshow. So um, let's go ahead and let's get started. So let's move this. Starting from the top. So my question is: to what extent does the teacher-student relationship with coaching influence students' positive behaviors and academic achievement? Um, so the purpose of this study is to see if the teacher-student relationship of coaching influences middle school students and develops positive behaviors and academic achievement in turn. And so the student population that I used was my own school that I work at is La Jolla Middle School. Our population is almost 1,000 students. I think actually this year we're over 1,000 students. Our largest ethnic group is Hispanic, with second being Caucasians, followed by African Americans. Um, and so, me teaching social science, I was also the head coach of football, still am the head coach of football and wrestling. And so, it's a pretty interesting dynamic, this coaching relationship. And that kind of goes into the review of the literature. Um, and so, relationships. Let me find the quote. There it is. So, the first thing when reviewing the literature and working with the professor last semester, they really told me to investigate what does a relationship mean. And so a relationship can be defined as a sense of stewardship that must be managed for sustainability, nurturing, and cultivating toward a positive future. Okay. And so if we're talking about these relationships in and outside the classroom, this is very important. Um, and so in doing further review of the literature, the thing that changes the teacher-student relationship the most is coaching. Coaching is that big dynamic, and it changes the relationship, and it makes sense because you then go from a teacher-student aspect to now a coaching player aspect, and through coaching and playing sports, you start to feel you go through the pains and the struggles of practice and playing games and winning and losing. You experience so many emotions that it does change the teacher-student relationship in the classroom. Another thing that needs to be identified are the difference between the two groups. We have athletes and then non-athletes. So basically, by doing this research, the relationship changes. There's students that teacher coaches have that are not only the players but students, but then there are other students that are just regular students. And so it's important to identify both those groups when taking into consideration this research, because some students will still develop positive behaviors and relationships with you, regardless if you're their coach or not. So it's important to take into account both groups. And the most important thing after reviewing all the literature is that the takeaway for a lifetime, whether it is negative, positive experience. So coaching and teaching, no matter if it's going to be negative or positive, it's something that these students will remember forever, for a lifetime, and it develops over time. One thing I want to mention, hopefully I can find it. Here it is. It's 5 management strategies to help promote student achievement in relationships, not only with coaching and teaching. This is part of the literature I reviewed as well. The first thing is to be confident, to know the students, to overplan, prepare for the worst, and be consistent. Those both dynamics go from not only in the classroom, outside as well. So let's go to our next slide. And so the action research. So this is the pre-existing data that I collected, and you can see that I had a total of 20 student athletes in my classes. And so this pre-existing data that was already there was not only their academic grades, but also at our school and our district we give behavior grades. So the highest grade they can achieve is a 4, the lowest being a 1. A 4 is considered advanced, 3 proficient, 2 basic, 1 low basic. And so you kind of see the data. GP1 means grade in period 1, grade period 2, grade period 3. So this is all the data for just one semester's of work. This is the fall 2013 semester. You can see my student athletes. Most of them, besides the exception of 1, achieved over a 3, which is proficient or advanced. Behavior grades, you can see the behavior grades. They're pretty good, almost all 4s and 3s. You see in student athlete number 16, there's 2 X's. That means he transferred to another school, he or she. So just kind of interesting to see that. And this data, I also put it in a graph. So you kind of see that the student athletes I had, not only was their behavior very good, but also their academic average was very good. You kind of see the one athlete, student athlete, I believe, student athlete, be 13 in this one. He's kind of an outlier, but you can still see that his behavior grade is still over a 3. Just academically, he was still passing technically. So, but it's just interesting to see that the student athletes in my class were in that the upper right corner up there. And so this is the observational data. This is just data I collected from just observing these students. And so you could see a lot of them were the same, like great behavior, great student, good student, sometimes needs classroom management. You can see student 13, a low student, needs to try harder, sometimes behavior problems. The student struggle a little bit. But overall, you could kind of see there's a good trend that these athletes were developing positive relationships and having great academic success in class. So moving on. This is the survey data. So the survey I gave a 4-question survey and a free response or interview question. And this was given to the teachers on my campus that were also coaches. They also coach. And so you can see the first question is, being a student's teacher and coach builds on positive relationships in the classroom. You can see that I believe a 1 is completely agrees, and then a 2 is agree, 3 neither, 4 disagree, 5 completely disagree. And you can see that the mean average was 1, so that means all the participants, there's a total of 9 of them, completely agree that being a student's teacher and coach builds a positive relationship in the classroom. Question number 2. Being a student's teacher and coach provides students with higher academic success in the classroom. You can see the mean average is a little bit different now. It's about 1.333 repeating. And so that means out of the 9 that replied to the survey, they either agreed or completely agreed that being a student's teacher and coach would help them in academic success. Question 3, overall, being a teacher and coach of the same students is worth the amount of time outside the classroom. This one was a little bit, as you can see the mean average going up. So that means 1 or 2 people of the teacher coaches put neither agree or completely disagree to the amount of time being spent outside the classroom to coach. But you can still see that the mean average is still be between completely agree and agree, between that 1 and 2, that it is worth the time to coach students and be their teacher. And question 4, I have used coaching as a motivational tool in the classroom for academic success and positive relationships with students. You can see that mean average is a little bit lower, so a little bit towards the completely agree. These teacher coaches completely agree that it's a good motivational tool to get students to behave, have positive relationships, and have higher success in the classroom. So here's some interviews. I interviewed a total of 9 teacher coaches, but I only wanted to show 3 interviews that stood out. Couple interviews, coaches didn't respond just because they didn't have the time or they were busy. So here's the first teacher coach. This teacher coach, I believe that my personal student athletes have more confidence in themselves as students. they are more comfortable with a teacher coach. I'll open up more and not be afraid to ask for assistance. They'll also learn from a teacher coach. That is their first job, is to be their students. A teacher coach is more apt to enforce this than a non-coaching teacher. This teacher coach, through the 10 years of coaching, I found a significant bond between players and students, and the respect given to the teacher's coach. The connection between coaches and players transfers into the classroom, and it builds a bridge that allows for growth in academics and behavior. Students are held accountable because of their interactions on and off the field. I have a long list of students who have stayed in school and graduated directly because of this influence I have had on them through coaching and teaching. And last one, building rapport with my students is essential, and any coaching makes building that rapport easy. Anytime you are involved in a student's life outside of classroom time, you will have a positive effect on the teacher-student relationship. Some very strong words and and I have to agree with every single one of those statements from those teachers. And so, conclusions, next steps to think about. So positive relationships and academic achievement. Firsthand, you could see through my data that, besides one little outlier, that the positive relationships were there. The students were awesome in class. Their academic achievement was high. And kind of interesting, that year, my sixth period was like my best class out of all of them. Well, after doing this research, it dawned on me that there were about 9 students in that class that I coached throughout the year. And so for that to be my best class, it kind of makes sense, right? If 9 out of like 36 students are in that class and I coached them, that it makes sense. So some next steps. One recommendation would be for any of you to coach a sport or club. I mean, try it out. See if it works for you. It's kind of interesting because, not all of us are athletic. I mean, I'm not that athletic anymore. But even to coach a club or something outside of school, like it could help build that rapport. But to go along with that, there's a lot of survey and interview of non-teachers and coaches that I was not able to get to. And it'd be interesting to hear, to further the research, to see what they thought about it, because I have met teachers that think that, hey, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to coach students outside the class. I got my own life. I don't want to worry about this. But that would be one of the next steps, to survey and interview non-teachers and coaches. Also, a next step to do is to get data from all sports on campus. I mean, this data, I only got a survey. I only got 20 students from football and wrestling. So the next steps would be to get the data from every single student athlete on campus, from every single sport, and to see and from the teachers that actually coach on campus, and to see where their achievements at, where their behaviors are at. And it would be an interesting thing to see, especially with this year and last year, a lot of students. I think the data, it could be a little bit different, it could not, but it just depends. That's the next step. And just keep in mind that this is just the middle school level. Another next step would be to go to the high school level to see if that is a transition as well. But yeah, overall, I found that coaching and teaching built those positive relationships and help students with academic success. And even this year, coaching football, we just finished the season. This was our team's first undefeated season in the 20-year history of our school. And all the students I have in my class, all my football players, they don't mess around. They have high achievement grades. Because they experience winning with you. And if I could do the data now and see how those students are right now in my class, I think that would also help support this conclusion. But yeah, hopefully I got through everything, and hopefully this video comes out decent. But yeah, I would love to see what you guys thought about it, and look forward to looking at your guys' mini studies. Thanks a lot.